Questions, please.
Bob, 2 weeks, obviously different results. The difference in the two outcomes. Why one way, why the other?
Well, we were ready. We were much more ready to play today than what we were there. They're hard to play against. Bruce does a great job. They spread you out offensively and defensively. They're really physical and take a lot of things away from you.
Wow, what was your thought when you saw Culver grab his hand? And
You know, well, I was hoping it was. He's. I guess it's a sprain. I don't know. I'm like, you need to go get it looked at, and he's like, no, I'll just have to put some tape on it. He's had it all year. It's not the first time. Initially I was afraid it was broke or something. The first time that he practiced, and he said, no, it's not broken. I'm fine.
Do kids like that have to learn the physicality of the post?
Is what
I mean, Derek and Oscar and any of the post players, they have to learn the physicality inside at the college game because they're probably not used to that coming in.
Well, they won't let them in high school.
Yeah.
I think people are more physical with them, and I think they absorb more physicality just because they can. And some of those guys, if they got hit the way those guys get hit, they get knocked around, and those guys don't. Oscar does a little more than Derek, but I mean those are two big, strong guys. They don't show the physicality as much as what other people do.
You only have a few guys who've been through a conference schedule, let alone multiple. Do you think the younger players are kind of learning, how tough it is to go through the Big 12?
Well, we were talking about it sitting back there. No, they don't understand. They don't understand how hard it is. I mean, every game's a hard game, particularly in this league. Every game's a hard game. This is a very physical league.
Well, Wednesday night was the first time that you had done that late night back home this season. Did you keep an eye on Miles and Oscar for how they dealt with that first time?
We didn't. We had 2 days to practice. The first day we really didn't do anything but watch film. We watched film. Tried to teach them by watching their mistakes, and then tried to show them the positive things that we did and what we really need to kind of expand on. And then we ran a bunch of offense, just 5-on-0 offense. They didn't have any contact. They got some shots up, so it was a real light day. And then yesterday we had practice on.
Well, not a good shooting night for Kansas State. How much of that was your guys' defense versus them just not making the shot?
Well, wasn't a good shooting night for anybody, was it?
No.
We didn't shoot it, they didn't shoot it. It makes it an ugly game. I don't mind ugly games as long as we're good. I thought they did a really good job of spreading us, and I didn't think we did as good a job as some other times. We turned them loose too many times, way too many times. And we're trying to play some other guys that we haven't played quite as much because I'm hoping they can make some shots. I mean, thank God Chase is making some shots because he's about the only one. We're getting we got guys shooting 20%, man. They ain't very good.
No.
They ain't very good. A lot of guys in the 30%, so they've got to somehow figure out how to make some shots.
Coach, I'm kind of curious on Chase's play with the flagrant foul and the double foul, I guess. Because it was a dead ball foul, you could put anyone up to the line? Okay. That's what I was wondering. I didn't know if it had to be Chase or if you, because.
Well, no, Chase walked over and said, Coach, I'd have made the same decision.
2.5 minutes in, timeout, sub all 5. What did you want to get across there?
We're going to get our ass back on defense, or you're coming out. We just, you know, it's a long year. It's a long year, and when you play against the same guys day after day after day, and I mean, and it goes back to, you know, this summer, going to Spain and all. I mean, they've been playing against each other for almost a year. I mean, it's a little bit better before all the guys go back to Europe and play against those guys a little bit, which is somebody different. But you get tired of the same guy fouling you, the same guy making a bad pass to you so you don't get a shot, or the same guy looking you off and not giving you the ball when you're open. You get tired of all that stuff. And we kind of this week we just weren't. It was starting to come to a head a little bit.
Coach, you say it's a long year. At this point last year, you guys obviously weren't in the same kind of position you guys are this year. Does that, I know that doesn't change the way you prepare or practice, but does it change anything in the sense that, you know, these guys weren't in this position last year? Now all of a sudden they are a year later. They've never really been through it before. Does that make any difference at all the rest of the way?
Well, the rest of the way, as I explained to them at halftime and during the game, that I'm not going to go through that again. If we got guys that are disruptive, they're gone. We're getting rid of them. We're not going to do that again. And I think they got a message.
Coach Weber said the atmosphere, the fans, the style of play reminded him of throwback basketball. Does this year remind you of throwback basketball?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, he said like
throwback basketball. I mean, no, we could get away with a lot more. Throwback. We get away with a lot more because they didn't have all those cameras. You know, you had somebody filming the game. That was it. So if you knew where the camera was, you get away with a lot of stuff. I don't think it's like that at all. There's too much scrutiny for it to be the way it was.
Coach, when there are, you know, so many fouls, you've got a lot of fouls in the last game, a lot of fouls in this game for both teams. Does it make it tough for your players to get in a rhythm, do you think?
Honestly, I don't know. I can make some tough, but honestly, I don't know. We try not to foul. And we really do work really hard on trying not to foul. It's like the last, 4 minutes of the game, you know, we put them at the line too much. You don't want people to score with the clock stopped. And we did, but we try not to foul. I think some guys have the philosophy, just, you know, if you foul on every play, they're going to stop calling. I don't know if that's the case or not. I've never subscribed to that philosophy.
Would you talk a little bit about Derek, the all-around player? And what I'm thinking of is he got some pretty tough physical rebounds today, but he also had that nice movement on the baseline where he faked right and went and hit a left-handed up, and then when he hit McBride out after the ball came in with almost a no-look pass. I mean, those are you know, those are the three phases of the game, other than free throw shooting, that you try to get.
Well, I think if you, and you know, those of you who have seen him kind of grow and mature, and last year he was a post defender, and then this year, because we wanted to play he and Oscar together, one of them has to guard a perimeter guy, because most teams don't play with two post guys. And so Derek was much more suited to go out on the perimeter and guard. So he guarded, if you think about it, a lot of 6 foot to 6'3", maybe 6'4" guys that are way more agile than your normal 6'10", 270-pound guy. But he liked it, you know, and I tried to explain to him, you know, take a look at Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson signed for the Max in Cleveland, and they never throw him the ball. Never throw him the ball. But he offensive rebounds it, he defensive rebounds it, and he can switch and guard guards, which is a luxury. And so I said to Derek, Derek, that's what you need to model your game after. You know? Because one, if you're planning on playing for pay, they don't have post guys anymore. They don't want post guys anymore. But they want somebody who can switch ball screens. Why did Toronto win the world championship? Because they put the Golden State center in ball screens. Yeah. I just didn't want to say his name, but because he's a big dude.
Yeah, he couldn't stop.
But you know, if you have the luxury of having somebody who can switch ball screens and stay in front of a guard, you know, and that's what everybody says. I mean, he's got a chance just because he brings that to the table. That there aren't many big guys who can do what he does. He's got to keep getting better at it, but he knows that.
How do you grade Derek as a passer? Because it felt like he could have had 7, 8 assists.
Sadly, he might be our best. Sadly. Hurts me to say that. He might be our best.
Do you see anything characteristic, consistent about how you guys play after a loss? I mean, today wasn't pretty, but it could have been a loss, and Texas was one-sided. And
You're not much of a player if you don't respond after a loss. It's a lot harder to, you know. Coach Knight used to say all the time, you want to play them after a big win. And as good as we were at Cincinnati sometimes, like we went in and beat Louisville, beat the heck out of Louisville when they were top 5 in the country. I think we were top 5 in the country. And it's a great game when we beat them, and then we go lose the next game because we just couldn't get ready to play.
But for all the inexperience you talked about, it's true. That's a hard thing to come by, though, just to be that resilient, because you all do seem to get pretty bummed out after a loss. It might seem like it'd be hard to get back up there.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's coached for a while will tell you it's so much harder to get up after a big win than it is a loss, any kind of loss.
Bob,
Did I answer your question?
That's good.
Sort of.
Bob, in the second half, I believe Taz turned an ankle, and I don't remember him coming back in. Is he okay?
He turned an ankle.
It looked like he was limping off, and I didn't see him come back in. So.
That was a good move on his part. I believe that was after he got straight line drove. That's good. I didn't notice it. He limped off, but that's a good try.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Yep.